A hush-hush billionaire rolls up in a Rolls-Royce so dope it's worth more than your whole hood. Then boom, a wild Karen charges out, hollering he's swiping it right from his own driveway. Cops swoop in, lights flashing, but wait. The twist she never saw coming is about to flip her life upside down, and it's crazier than a reality show gone off the rails. Want to catch more nuts stories like this? Smash that subscribe button and let's burn rubber into this mess. Justin Brooks wasn't your typical fat cat rich guy. At 42, this black billionaire had stacked his cash under wraps, no bling, no big mouth, just pure grit, from a tough Philly block to a secret stash of tech deals and charity moves. He'd been in the neighborhood a few months. Beverly Hills was rich people's playground, white mansions glowing in the sun, palm trees swaying like they knew they were the bomb, and fancy rides purring down every lane. Then there was Karen Walsh, the neighborhood's self-made watchdog at 54, strutting like she ran the whole show. She'd been dug in for 20 years, draped in loud floral dresses, Gucci shades slipping down her nose, and a Coach bag swinging like her crown. She'd toss fake grins at the gardener, but her eyes spilled the tea. She didn't roll with new faces, especially not black ones. Over wine with her husband, Dave, she'd gripe, "This place is slidin'," her tone sharp as a knife. Some folks just don't match, call it instinct. Dave, a balding lump parked on the couch with ESPN, would mumble, "Sure, babe," too zoned out to challenge her petty beef. Justin had kept it smooth since landing here, nodding at folks, tending his yard, slipping inside. No wild nights, no noise, just a guy doing his thing. Karen had him on her radar from day one, though, her nose twitching like she'd sniffed out a skunk. She'd spy from her kitchen, tea sloshing as she griped to Dave. "What's his angle? Too quiet for a crib that big?" David'd shrug. "Maybe he's just loaded, Care." But she wasn't having it. A black dude in her pristine little kingdom? Nah. Something was up, and she'd dig till she hit dirt. That afternoon the sun was sinking, painting the street in warm gold. Justin decided it was go time for the Rolls-Royce. First ride since it rolled in. He threw on a gray vest and slacks, nothing loud, just sharp and easy like he was hitting a casual dinner. Grabbing the keys gold and hefty like a backstage pass, he strolled out to the driveway. The boat tail sat there, a black stunner, with curves smoother than a soul tune, shining so bright it almost dared you to blink. He popped the door, slid in and turned the key. The engine kicked on with a purr that whispered, "Boss," without shouting it. Karen was nursing her fancy tea when she spotted him from her kitchen window. The cup slipped, splashing her dress, as her jaw dropped like she'd seen a ghost. "Dave, haul ass over here, check this out," she barked, eyes locked on Justin. The Rolls-Royce glowed under the dusk light, its sleek lines bouncing back her stunned mug. "A black guy with a car like that? No way, he's pulling something." Dave shuffled over, rubbing his belly. "Maybe he just bought it, hun." Karen snorted. "Bought it? With what? Food stamps? Something's rotten. I'm on it." Her grip tightened on the mug, her brain firing like a piñata about to bust. She mashed her face against the glass, watching Justin tweak the mirrors like he owned the planet. "He's casing it, waiting for the real owner to bounce so he can swipe it," she hissed, her voice low and venomous. Dave mumbled, "You're reaching Tay," but she was already charging. Tea dumped, phone grabbed, heels clicking like a countdown to crazy. "I'm shutting this down. Nobody messes with my turf." She bolted out, ready to unleash a storm, her nutcase engine revving full throttle. Justin sank into the Rolls-Royce, the leather wrapping him like a first-class seat on a private jet, the engine humming soft and slick as he flipped the key. He was about to cruise when, bam! Karen Walsh blasted out her front door like a floral freight train, phone in one fist, the other flapping like she was signaling a plane crash. Her dress swirled like a cape gone rogue, Gucci shades slipping as she barreled across her lawn, screaming loud enough to rattle the whole block. "Hey, what are you doing with that car? That's not your house. Got every face on this street locked in my head." Her voice sliced through the calm like a foghorn at a library. Justin cut the engine, stepping out slow, keys dangling loose like loose change. "Ma'am, this is my car. My place too. You're barking up the wrong tree," he said, cool as a fan on a hot day, his Philly chill keeping him steady like he was shushing a rowdy barfly. But Karen wasn't here for quiet. She let out a cackle, loud and prickly, shaking her head like he'd just claimed he flew the moon. Wrong tree? Oh, honey, I've been running this block for 20 years. 2 decades keeping it tight. You don't fit a spot like this. Where'd you nab that ride? Her eyes darted to the Rolls-Royce, then snapped back, dripping with doubt like he'd pulled a fast one in her own backyard. She didn't give him a beat. Whirled around like a top on a bender, hollering at the houses, "Hey, everybody, peek out! We got a crook pulling a daylight grab. Been yelling this place is slipping." Her arms waved wild, dress puffing up like a sail in a squall, her voice bouncing off the walls like a megaphone on blast. Curtains flicked. Mrs. Larson leaned out, iced tea wobbling, eyebrows climbing. Mr. Jenkins poked his head through a window, scratching his scalp, blinking like he'd missed the plot. A kid on a bike rolled up, jaw dropped, but nobody bolted out. Karen was a solo hurricane, and they were just grabbing popcorn. But just inside, popping the trunk to grab his registration. "Got the papers right here if you just take a chill pill for a sec." His voice stayed steady like he was coaxing a kid off a sugar high. Karen cut him off. "Papers? Oh, spare me. Faking stuff's easier than microwaving popcorn. You're not slicking me." She smirked, stepping close, shades dangling as she leaned in. "Bet you're just waiting for the owners to jet, then zoom off with that car, saw it on True Crime." Classic hustle. Her finger jabbed the air close enough to nick his vest, like she was poking for gold. The street went hush, sprinklers hissing as Karen's voice rang like a busted car horn. Justin stood firm, keys in one hand, papers in the other, letting her ramble like a toy with a stuck button. "I've seen guys like you," she snapped, pacing quick, heels clicking like a metronome on speed. "Acting all big till the law rolls in. You're not fooling anyone with this rich guy act." She spun again, shouting at the houses. "Wake up! This is what I've been warning about. Shady characters sneaking in. Next, it's car alarms and chaos all over." Mrs. Larson muttered from her porch, "She's off her rocker." Nuts as a squirrel's stash, but stayed put, sipping like it was a soap opera. Karen charged on. "I've got you clocked. First day I smelled trouble. You think you can strut in with that car and nobody bats an eye? I'm no pushover. I know a con when I sniff it." Her shades slipped, voice spiking. "This street's mine to guard. I won't let it turn into a circus." Justin tilted his head. "You want to keep this up? I'm just trying to roll." His tone picked up a little. Not mad, just fed up, like he'd heard this garbage too often growing up. Karen laughed, wild and sharp. "Keep it up? You bet. I've got every right to bust this open. You're done, pal. Curtains." She yanked out her phone, dialing 911 with the flair of a drama queen dropping a bombshell, her voice hitting a pitch that could crack a windshield. 911. "Yeah, there's a shady black guy trying to jack a Rolls-Royce in my neighborhood," she barked, cranking the panic like she'd caught a bandit red-handed. "He's parked right by it, gonna hotwire at any tick. Get here fast before he bolts with the whole dang thing." She shot Justin a smug grin. "They're coming, Slick. Better hit the gas." Her free hand slammed her hip, the other waving her phone like a victory flag. Dress swirling as she strutted like a rooster gone wild. Justin didn't flinch, leaned against the Rolls-Royce, arms crossed, watching her like she was a clown juggling knives and dropping them all over the place. "You're digging a ditch," he said, low and steady, a smirk sneaking out. He'd seen this game too many times to blink. Karen cackled. "Ditch? The only ditch is you thinking you can skate by. Got the whole street wise. Nobody's buying your I'm loaded fairy tale." She spun again, yelling at the houses. "See this? Been shouting it. Standards crashing fast. We're gonna be Beverly Hills big flop." Her voice broke mid-yell, shakes hitting the pavement with a pitiful clink. She didn't notice, too busy pacing like a mad hen on a rampage. "Knew it from day one. Trouble in a cheap get-up," she screeched. "Shoulda run the HOA bell first thing, but nah, they let him slip in like a snake." A dog barked down the block and she shrieked louder. "Even the mutts know he's off. Hear him yapping." She was pure chaos now, a storm of crazy tearing up the street. Her dress snagged her heel, nearly sending her flat, but she powered through, yelling, "Not on my watch, you're sunk." She waved her phone again. "Cops'll nail you. I'm the queen here and you're toast." Her hair flew loose, a frizzy halo as she spun one last time. "Somebody back me up. He's a crook." Nobody did. Mrs. Larson shook her head, Mr. Jenkins chuckled, and the kid on the bike whipped out his phone, filming her meltdown like it was pure gold. Sirens wailed, closing in tight. Red and blue lights flashed around the bend, 2 cop cars screeching up Justin's driveway, tires squealing like a chase flick gone live. Doors slammed, boots hit the ground. Karen's grin stretched wide, wild as a jack-o'-lantern on a sugar high. "Told ya!" she crowed, clapping like she'd won the jackpot. "You're cook slick!" "Cops don't mess with car snatchers." "Oh, this is golden. Lock him up, boys." Justin stayed rock steady, papers in hand, watching her spin out like a top gone berserk. Phones popped up, neighbors filming, kids laughing, the street turning into a circus with Karen as the star clown, blind to the wall she was about to slam into. The cop cars screeched to a halt, kicking up a dust storm that swirled around Justin's driveway like a gritty fog. Officer Grant leaped out first, a tough old dog with a buzz cut and a scowl that could scare a grizzly, his hand twitching near his holster like he was braced for a showdown. Officer Lee followed, a young spark with wide eyes and a shiny badge, clutching a notepad like he was about to bust a Hollywood thriller wide open. "Hands up now!" Grant bellowed, his voice a growl that tore through the evening calm like a jackhammer on a quiet block. Justin stayed chill as ice, raised his hands slow, papers and keys dangling loose, steady as a rock in a storm. "No hassle here, officers. I'm Justin Brooks. This is my house, my car. Proof's right here," he said, his tone smooth and easy like he was passing a buddy a brew, not facing 2 cops with guns on deck. Lee stepped up, eyeing the Rolls-Royce's glossy black shine, then Justin. "Hand over that ID and registration, let's roll." His voice snapped, eager like a rookie itching to bag a win. Karen was hopping like she'd hit the lotto, her floral dress flapping like a kite in a gale. "See? Told you he's shady. Look at him, playing it cool like he owns the joint." She pointed at Justin, her voice shrieking loud enough to wake the whole neighborhood. "Dig into him. He's probably got a rap sheet that'd stretch to the coast." She tried flipping her shades up, forgetting they'd already hit the dirt, grinning at Grant like she'd just tossed him a golden goose. "I've been here 20 years. I know who's legit and who's a phony." Grant nabbed the papers from Justin, his thick fingers flipping through them with a grunt that sounded like a truck choking on gravel. Lee peeked over, jotting notes like he was cracking a spy flick, while Karen kept yammering, "He's a con. Nobody's that slick. Unless they're hiding a pile of skeletons. Check that car. Nobody clued me in a guy like him was rolling with that cash." She stomped her foot, heel sinking into the lawn, her voice spiking. "You're slacking. Cuff him now." "What's it take? An arrow-pointing crook?" Lee's eyes popped, cutting her off mid-yell. "Whoa!" slammed the brakes. "Justin Brooks? The Justin Brooks? Head of the Brooks Scholarship Fund?" He grinned like he'd struck gold, slapping the papers against his palm. "Man, my cousin scored your scholarship for Caltech. He's acing it 'cause of you." He spun to Grant, buzzing. "This guy's a saint. Drops millions for kids, flies under the radar." Justin nodded. "Yeah, that's me. Just trying to lift some folks up, you know?" Grant flipped through the registration, his scowl softening a touch. All square. Car's his, house too. Paid cash 3 months back, no flags. He shot Karen a look that could freeze fire. "So what's this thief nonsense, lady? 'Cause I'm seeing a homeowner, not a punk boosting rides." Karen's grin locked, then twisted into a snarl, her face scrunching like she'd swallowed a lemon whole. "No way. He's full of it. Those papers are fake, as a knockoff purse. I've been here 20 years, 2 damn decades, and nobody greenlit a guy like him." She jabbed a finger at Justin, voice cracking. "You're dropping it. Lock him up, now. Look at him. Nobody like that owns a Rolls-Royce." He chuckled, shaking his head. "Lady, this ain't fake. Title's legit. VIN's gold, the whole deal. Sure you're not hallucinating?" He glanced at Justin, grinning. "Dude's a hero. My aunt runs a food bank he funded." Karen's face turned cherry red, her shades gone, smashed on the pavement. "I'm damn sure," she screeched, stomping so hard her heel broke clean off. "Nobody's that calm, unless they're running a game. You're letting him snow you. He's a crook, swear it." Her arms flailed, dress snagging on her busted heel as she lurched, nearly smacking Justin's mailbox. Grant's patience was fried. He tapped his radio. "Dispatch, run Karen Walsh, 54, Beverly Hills. Got a bad whiff here." The air thickened, seconds dragging as Karen ranted. "This is bonkers. You're picking him over me? I've been here since you two were in diapers. Do your jobs." Her voice hit a pitch that sent a cat bolting, her hands waving like she was swatting a swarm. Dispatch crackled back, rough and staticky. "Karen Walsh, 54, open case for real estate fraud, sold fake lots in Orange County, settled a racial harassment suit from Pinnacle Realty 3 years back. Keep her tight. She's slick." Lee's jaw hit the ground. "Wait, what? She's the shady one?" He spun to Grant, eyes bugging, while Karen's face flipped from red to purple, her mouth flapping like a fish on dry land. "That's trash! Lies! All lies!" she screamed, lunging like she'd snatch the radio and smash it. "That's slander. I'll sue you all. He's the one framing me. It's a setup." She took a wild step, her broken heel snagging the curb, and down she crashed, smashing into a rose bush by Justin's mailbox with a yelp that could wake a graveyard. Thorns ripped her dress, tearing it with a loud shred, fabric flying, shades skidding into the gutter, her arms thrashing as she howled, "Get me out! He did this!" Petals scattered like cheap confetti, dirt smearing her face like a mud mask gone wrong. She looked like a floral piñata after a bar fight. "You're all in on it. Cops, him, the whole block," she wailed, one shoe dangling, the other lost in the grass like a sad little prize. She clawed at the bush, screaming, "I'm the good guy. He's a thief. Lock him up, now." Grant's scowl turned icy. "Lady, you hauled us out here for zip, and now you're stuck in a bush like a total goof. What's next, saying he hacked your file?" Lee lost it, burst out laughing, doubling over. "Oh man, she's digging a ditch bigger than a landfill. Cool it, lady. My sides are killing me." He wiped a tear, phone out, snapping a pic of Karen tangled up like a bad lawn ornament. Neighbors were hooked. Mrs. Larson gasped, spilling tea down her shirt. "Holy moly, she's snapped." Mr. Jenkins snorted, dropping his beer with a clang. "Been waiting for this?" "Nutsy's done." Phones popped up like fireworks. Kids on bikes circled, giggling, one shouting, "She's a meme now." Car Karen's cooked. Justin stayed chill as a breeze, leaning against the Rolls-Royce, arms crossed, watching her flop like a fish on a line. "Told her, officers. Just wanted to roll out," he said, voice low, a smirk tugging his lips, like he'd called this mess from a mile off. Grant glared at Karen, still thrashing, thorns turning her hair into a frizzy disaster. She looked like a scarecrow after a brawl. "You're lucky he's not calling it yet," he growled. "This is his turf, his ride. You've got no ground here." Karen scrambled up, dirt streaking her face, one sleeve flapping. "You can't talk to me like that. I'm saving this street." She shook a fist, her voice a wild wail. "He's the intruder. I'm the hero. Lock him up. Do it." He stepped back, still chuckling. "Lady, you're the only one wrecking stuff. Your own rep's roadkill." He nodded at Justin. "Sorry about this, man. She's off the charts." Grant's radio buzzed. "Keep her close. Feds might want to dig into that fraud bit." Karen froze, eyes darting like a trapped critter. Her crazy castle was crumbling, and she'd built it on quicksand. The cop cars peeled out, tires screeching as they vanished into the twilight, leaving Karen's chaos swirling in the dust. Justin shook it off like lint, glancing at Officer Grant as the lights faded. "Not here to start a brawl. Just want to roll easy, you know?" His voice was smooth, steady, a guy who'd danced around bigger messes before. Grant gave a gruff nod. "Smart play, Brooks. She's a loose fuse. Hope she gets the picture." Justin shrugged. "Yeah. Here's hoping. Fingers crossed." Karen stood there, a walking disaster, dirt smudged across her cheeks, one sleeve of her floral dress dangling like a limp noodle, thorns sticking out of her hair like a bad crown. She muttered, "This ain't finished. Not by a long shot." Her voice jagged as a broken bottle as she stomped back to her porch, shooting daggers at Justin's place. Grant's warning echoed. "One more fake call and you're done. Got it?" She flicked the air a rude salute, slamming her door so hard it rattled the frame. Inside, she paced, gulping cheap Chardonnay like it was her last lifeline, scrolling Zillow like it had zapped Justin out of existence. "He thinks he's golden with that car," she hissed to Dave, who grunted, glued to a Hoops rerun. "I'll knock him down." "Yeah." Her pride was a pop tire, sleep was a no-show. She prowled her living room like a ticked-off alley cat, cooking up a plan wilder than a late-night TV scam. "He's not walking away. I'll hit him hard," she growled, her brain buzzing like a beehive on a bender. Around midnight, she hatched a doozy, snagged a hefty rock from her garden, big enough to leave a mark, and slipped out in a knockoff Louis Vuitton hoodie, muttering, "Let's see how he likes a smashed-up toy." She was on a tear, crazy cranked to max. The street was dark as pitch, moon ducked behind clouds, prime time for her batty scheme. She crept to Justin's driveway, the Rolls-Royce gleaming under a streetlight like a shiny prize screaming for trouble. "Fancy ride, huh? Not tonight," she snickered, winding up like a pitcher with a grudge. She chucked the rock with all her wild juice. Crack! It smashed the windshield, splintering a jagged mess, the sound popping like a firecracker in the dead quiet. She froze, grinning like she'd just tagged a rival's locker. "How's that feel, hotshot?" Then spun to bolt, thinking she'd nailed a slick getaway. But Mr. Jenkins wasn't snoozing across the street. The old car buff, who treated his Mustang like a prized pup, was up late, tinkering with hubcaps and sipping a Bud Light. His phone was rolling when Karen's rock flew, zooming in as it cracked the glass, nailing her smug giggle in high def. "Caught you, you loony bird," he laughed, uploading it to the neighborhood WhatsApp like lightning. Caption blared, "Karen's back," smashing Justin's Rolls-Royce like it's her stress ball. The chat erupted. Mrs. Larson typed, "Good grief, she's lost it." Tina, the yoga mom, added, "Same nut who flipped on that black delivery guy. Here we go." By sunrise, the video was a wildfire. Twitter, Instagram, even creaky Facebook groups lit up like a holiday sale. Karen blew up, racking up hits before Karen even cracked an eye. Justin woke to the busted windshield, gave a quiet chuckle. Guess she's got some steam to let off, and dialed his insurance guy. "No sweat, just hey, got a nick, can you swing by?" He kept it low-key, bigger fish to fry. But the neighborhood was humming like a hive on a sugar rush. Folks peeked out, muttering, "She's gone full-on wacko, toss a rock like a lunatic." Karen strutted out at noon, shades back on, acting like she still ran the show. Tina marched over, phone blazing. "Thought you'd slip this one, smashing his cars all over the web, everyone's roasting you." Karen's face went pale as chalk, then red as a cherry. "That's my turf, he's framing me." "You're all just jealous." She flailed her arms, shades slipping, voice hitting a screech that sent a bird flapping off a wire. Tina smirked. "Jealous? Nah, we're just glad we ain't you." "Jenkins caught you cold?" Karen bolted back inside, slamming the door, dialing her boss in a panic. "They're setting me up, save me." But the video had pinged Pinnacle Realty's radar, a ritzy firm selling pads to loaded kids. Clients were tweeting up a storm, "Your chick's a racist, car trash or dump her." The CEO shot off an email by lunch. "Karen Walsh is out. Done now. No space for hate or vandals." She stared at the screen, glass slipping, splashing wine all over her dress as she wailed, "They can't ditch me. I'm the good guy. I'll sue 'em all." The neighborhood piled on. Someone taped a neon pink sign to her mailbox, "Karen, the Rolls-Royce smasher," loud as a kick in the teeth. Kids zipped by on scooters, giggling, "Hey, Karen, got spare rocks?" Mr. Jenkins cranked the video on his porch speaker, laughing till he wheezed. "She's been griping about those folks since forever, finally got smoked." Tina hollered over her fence, "Remember when she flipped on that black gardener? Karma's got her pegged." Karen peeked out, face sizzling hotter than a grill, slamming her blinds shut as the laughter rolled like a wave. The WhatsApp group pinged wild. Mrs. Larson posted, "She called my nephew shifty last summer. Good riddance." Another neighbor chimed in, "She's been eyeballing every black UPS guy like they're pulling a job. Time she got toasted." Her phone buzzed with shake. Old pals texting, "You're a joke. Lose my number." She chucked it at the wall, screaming, "They're all clowns. I'm the real deal." But the street wasn't hers. It was laughing her out, and the sound hit like a sledgehammer. Karen's landlord threw in the towel, 2 days after her rock-throwing fiasco. He slapped her with an eviction notice, blunt as a brick, 30 days to scram. No loonies welcome. She tried to fight it, screeching over the phone, "I'm the good one. You can't toss me." But the lease was month to month, and the guy was over it. Karen was history. A week later, a rickety moving truck rolled up at 3 a.m., her floral dresses jammed in soggy boxes, shades off. She slunk away under the cover of night, dodging the snickers and stares, her reign as block boss ending with a whimper. The video kept blazing. Karen crash hit 1 million views, memes flooding Twitter like a roast fest. Karen chucked a rock and tanked her life. Epic fail and Rolls-Royce. One Karen zip. See ya. She was the punchline of the week, a ghost nobody missed. Her mailbox sign, Karen, the Rolls-Royce smasher, still flapping as the truck faded out. Her real estate hustle, her HOA clout, all toast, sold off cheap to dodge debts from her old scam days. The street slid back to calm. Justin rolled out his patched-up Rolls-Royce a few days later, windshield gleaming like it had shrugged off the hit. He didn't strut, just drove off to his next gig, same easy vibe as ever. Neighbors waved now, some muttering shy apologies like, "Shoulda shut her down ages ago, sorry man." Mr. Jenkins grinned at Tina over the fence, sipping a Bud Light. Karen thought Justin was the crook. Turns out she's the one who couldn't hack it. Bet she's bawling into her wine somewhere. Tina laughed. Yeah, good riddance. This block's too fly for her nutty mess now. Beverly Hills chilled out without her. Justin's quiet game flipped the script. No fuss needed. The takeaway hit home. Judge folks by what they do, not what your dumb brain cooks up. Karen's blind hate kicked her to the curb, while Justin's steady truth kept him king. No crowns required, just less crazy. But over in another hood, a new Karen stirring up her own storm, so stick with the channel to catch the next wild ride.